what's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's Plumes of Hazard. What do we call the show? We couldn't come up with a name. I am.
No, we couldn't agree on a name.
We couldn't agree on a name.
Really?
So 9.
I was fine with the one you said.
Shut up. I am still doing the intro. Muted is Fubaka. Our gracious hosts, understudy 77 for the weekend, the Angstful Vapor, and NSA's most wanted Fubaka.
Saw that coming.
Mile away, man, mile away. What's up, everybody?
Wow.
I feel like I've got to adjust things.
The wow.
Just tweak
The
it
wow?
just a little bit.
Not the wow.
Hey, guess what tonight is?
What is tonight?
Hostful. Hostful.
Yeah. Feels like it's been a while.
It
Be
feels
the
like it's been a
hostess.
long while.
Hostess with the mostest? Beep, beep, beep.
Clouds, bro.
Clouds.
Clouds, what we were living in this weekend. Clouds. Clouds.
That's for sure.
Alright,
You
what we tried
can't
to-
live in vapor.
My throat was raspy and not feeling well thanks to the proliferation of the vapors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that. I've never been more worn out from living in vapor than any single day in an event than that.
Yeah.
day.
That was pretty impressive.
But that's not to speak to the event, because the event was
Oh, it was great.
brilliantly simple for
It
us.
just wasn't great for me.
Yeah, it was brilliantly well organized and executed, and there was barely any work we had to do. There was just so much vapor in the air.
So much vapor and so much standing. Like, I got so tired to the point where, well, because there was like nowhere to sit essentially. There were a lot of people there, so I went in the back room and just laid on the cold like wood laminate floor. And you know, people who have done that before understand how great that is to do when you're
It did happen.
pretty much.
Sam actually did the same thing after you, by the way.
Yeah, I told he's like you really doing that? I'm like, yeah. And I come in later and he's laying in my place. I'm like, yeah.
Tony, I did not get the vape meat flu. I'm perfectly fine today. That has everything to do with the fact that I didn't do a lot of, nobody taking my mod, or if they did, they put their own. I made them put their own drip tip in. That helps.
Oh, my Tekasui got around this weekend.
Everybody got their mouths all over your Tekasui.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
I'm still vaping a lot of Zero Nick after this weekend.
I don't blame you.
I'm vaping no Nick.
You're
Yeah,
all
I
vaping.
vaped 3 me and Angsty were man enough to do 3 the whole weekend.
Oh, I did 3 the whole weekend too, and I really wish I wouldn't have.
Oh, you were freaking saying the night before, you're like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I bring some Zero with me.
I didn't do that though.
You fucked up, Ken.
I will say that all day yesterday, after I finally got home, I was not vaping Raspberry Mint. It was too much. The 7030, it was all lab rat all day yesterday. Nice and smooth.
I vaped a lot of Zero yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Too much.
Hey, Foo.
What's up?
Just has vaping on.
You're vaping on that.
Speaking of lab rat,
Mm.
I got him in the purple boat on the Purple Titan. Big Banana,
In the purple boat.
Big Banana, my favorite. I got a Silly Rabbit from Karmic in the Velocity on the Ohm Record 200, and I got Lushington from Goliath from Goliath. Lushington from Stash E-Liquid in the Goliath on the S6 Mini. I mentioned earlier in chat, this has pretty much been the Panasonic Toughbook of a mod since I've had it. It's been beat to shit and it still works really good.
Yeah.
Partly, I think, because I haven't dropped it on the button.
Mm.
I could see that being an issue if it fell on the fire button, but otherwise this thing is... it's amazing. Mwah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What you got going on, Angsty?
Tonight's I have the I've got a micro Nectar on the Mass Mods Micro, which you cannot have. Inside there is.
You have to, like, at least say once in a while, you go, fuck yourself, can you have one?
Yeah, just
I got the...
I was waiting.
Oh, no, I
Me
was
too.
just saying
I
what
was
you should
like,
say.
It's like, what? What was I going to say?
I got something new to talk about tonight. On top of the Seed Edition 0, I've got a new Atti to discuss, which we will talk about in a little while. On the Biker Mod Maker box, I have the Snappy, and inside there is a beta juice that was sent, and I also have something else to talk about, which has been previously discussed by Sean, but we'll talk about that in a minute. This is the SX Mini with the Typhon GT.
That thing looks so ridiculous.
The only thing it looks dumber than is on my micro.
You know what? That shit looks like it's from Lord of the Rings.
It really does.
Yeah.
But it functions.
It's pretty nice, actually.
It does. Last but not least, the DNA 200. I've got the Phenotype-L with a fun little build on that, which we'll probably talk about that later as well. How about you, Shano?
I have a nice assortment myself. I have the Nectar on the iStick with Nannerbear from Grizzly Vapes, which I haven't had in a long time. I have the Snapdragon and the Zero. I have the Phenotype-L on the D200, the Phenotype-L Black Edition. And I have the white sub-tank kit that I'm still playing around with and trying out the 0.5 ohm coil. I hadn't done that prior. So I got those four sitting in front of me. Masty?
I just got the DNA 200 beta with the velocity on the top with some yummy juice.
So, Masty, Candy just said in the chat, she said the only thing that would balance that out is if it had the donger tube on the other side, because then it would it would literally be like equal on both.
Well, I did that with the Silo Beast. You put the Silo Beast on there, and the freaking wow.
Thanks. Did your Mini left the house?
This thing makes the Silo Beast look short.
Oh Lord, that's the regular tank.
Well, no, you got to move it up. You got to move it up a little bit because of that. That's 510,
true.
Right?
This thing does have a. This is recessed. Recessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beast.
Hold on. This is for Grim, since he's making fun of me about the phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
Understudy then died of lung cancer shortly after.
Occasionally, with Zero, I will vape like this. Not very often. It's not really my favorite thing.
But some things do taste good at that power, doesn't it?
Yeah, I got blue in mine.
Understudy clouds.
Dual Claptons.
This is my first ever parallel coil in here, which I am going to talk about when we talk about the phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say I was going to be vaping on the Smoke TF V4, but we're going to be talking about that tonight because
that's that revolvery top one you got last week, right?
We had some issues. Yes.
Oh. I'm going to call that the wheel gun.
Yeah. Okay. That's good times.
It's good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing is huge. Anyway, it's not my turn yet.
Well, before we get into individual stuff, I kind of miss you fuckers already a little bit.
A little bit.
Want some slow music?
That couch back there is pretty comfy to sit on. It's not very comfy to sleep on.
Yeah, it's I disagree because I sleep on it almost every night.
You know why I like the other couch, Angsty?
Oh, I thought he was gonna do.
It's actually because it's actually a little stiffer. I don't sink into it like that one.
Yeah. I don't mind the sinkiness. The thing that gets me is that you can't take the pillows on the back off, and it's super narrow to sleep on. I got wide ass shoulders, and it's meh.
It is a little bit. It's a little on the narrow side, but I had to find something that was like long enough for me to kind of be able to stretch out on, which is really hard to find in a couch.
You're right.
So
lengthwise, it's fine.
So, Sean, you were saying about missing us?
Yeah, I was just saying that I kind of miss you guys already.
I think that we should give people who did not see the post on Plumes some of the shenanigans that went on and put up. Holy crap! Where the hell's the picture now?
We have shenanigans somewhere.
Well, the picture of us in the car.
Oh,
I was just gonna say that we were rolling through DC with this plane in the background, and all of us in the car. Actually, hey, we saw Huey's flying over. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a whole formation. There's like 8 of them.
Yeah.
7 of them. There's like 3 and one up front.
Yep. It was good times.
It was good times.
it was a good weekend.
That was right about before I missed my flight.
Yeah,
Almost.
Mm-hmm.
Not
it was
quite.
a good weekend. Almost missing flights included.
Yeah.
What is it with all these fake profiles trying to friend you? No. Just
They're
'cause
not
my
idiots. They have feelings, dude.
Just because my other friends fell for it, no.
Hey, you go and look at their mutual friends. You're like, yeah, someone would accept a friend request from that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I got the best fake friend request I've ever gotten this weekend.
Yeah.
It was a guy with a girl's profile picture that still had the stock image watermark on the picture.
Yeah.
Best one I've ever seen. Usually they put in a little bit more work than that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
But only a little bit more work because they usually just find a random girl picture. But
Yeah,
It's 2015. You'd think social engineers would be better.
I need to just accept it though, man, because really, when you think about it, they're really just trying to find me a good deal on Ray-Bans.
They really are.
Or
H cigar stuff.
I would like a deal on a pair of Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of their glasses.
And all the spam and crap that comes with it. Mm-hmm.
I'd probably do it in another group.
But no, it was a really good weekend. It was a really good event. I have to give a huge shout out to the Vape Dojo.
Yeah.
Bakers Knoll.
One thing I said in a comment in a thread that ended up getting deleted, but I'll say it here. Protzman from Dojo puts on. I'm seeing her waving this thing around like a friggin' lightsaber. Look at this thing. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He puts on the tightest raffle I have.
Oh my god, dude! We got there well before the party started.
Yeah,
well before.
And everything was already done.
All the raffle prizes were arranged for what time we're giving them away.
Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, usually when we do a party like this and people come in, there's usually like we're running around and we're busy the whole time, and like this was like every half an hour he's got 3 bags out there. We're good to go. We just grab the mic and say some stuff, put it down, and then we're good.
Detective Andy was able to take a donut break this time.
Yeah, I feel like almost like we weren't doing quite enough.
Yeah, I kept asking if there's stuff to do. I'm like, hey, can I help someone else? What do you
Yeah, we're just like, I feel kind of feeling kind of useless right now. I'm just drinking water and peeing every hour, so and then talking on the mic.
The one thing I do wish is that I would have set something up to record and
the number is.
I really, really wish I would have set something up to record so that we could share every time we were in a car.
Yeah.
Because of the...
And the number is...
Oh!
Every time we were in a car.
Got him.
Brilliant. Every time.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wish we would have got some video or something. We barely got any pictures again because we suck at that.
Always.
Every time we get in the car.
There were some bad pictures.
Yeah, we got a bunch of bad pictures. That's it.
There were some bad pictures.
Bad.
True.
But who all came down? Eric from Silversteam came down. Mark from Labrat came down. Tony, our web guy, came down.
Good to meet him for the first time. That was cool.
Yeah, so we had a lot of people come in from out of town to come hang out for the evening. It was a lot of fun. I want to thank anybody who did make it out. Anybody who watches and came out to see us, which I would have came for the 10 grand and stuff, not to see us, but
Right.
Lab Rat's feet didn't touch a floor all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna get started with the scooter.
I'm just gonna say that. He's he was just living in vapor and
The highlight.
Floating around.
The highlight, though, is we raised in that raffle $1,275 for not blowing smoke.
By we mean Dojo and all the partners.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to buy raffle tickets.
Yeah. By we mean everybody who's involved in the event planning and the doing and that stuff. Really us the smallest amount out of that group.
Yep, and everybody who came out too. That was really awesome. It was close to $1,300, wasn't it?
$1,275.
Yeah.
Though
Pretty cool, man.
I was a little sad. I mean, Protzman was there, awesome dude, but the other Matt, pretty Matt they call him, was not there. I was hoping to meet him.
I was also sad that
I'm
Rich
a fan of his tobaccos.
Yeah.
I was sad Rich didn't come out as well. I really wish Rich would have made it. But, you know, you can't get them all the time. It's not like, you know, I'm sure that they can catch us the next time Plumes gets together because we do it so regularly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. We had, you know, it was funny because people, the question always come up, so where are you guys from? You know, like all of us together, and it's like Florida, Texas, New York. One said Jersey for food, and I lost
So it's
it.
like, where are you from? He's like, oh yeah, you're from like Jersey.
I was like, as soon as the guy
oh.
said it, I was like, oh, and then because I heard the playing in the background.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was like, Jersey. And then I was like, oh, I'm like, dude, I'm from New York. And then Eric from Silverstein was standing like literally like 5 feet away. I'm like, Eric, I think we got to take him out back and give him a New York style.
No, it was actually really cool. We got to meet a lot of the fans and you know, some people who have you know who had completed some of the kits and done some mods and done some modding themselves. It was really cool.
Yep.
So it was I must say it was
Good times.
I was very exhausted at the end of the night.
Oh,
so
Dude, we passed out right quick that night.
I mean from 10:30
Yeah.
till
Like
10:30 at night.
Yeah, we didn't get back until like 2 or
Yeah.
1:30 or something.
Yeah, and I can honestly say I was vaping zero, and I did get nicked out a few times. I had to go outside and you know get some. I think the rain made it worse because you know
It was deadly,
earlier during
man.
the day. Right later on, man, it was great. It was great outside.
After it stopped raining, it wasn't warm. It was cool out, but the
Yeah.
Knoll party was the same because it was a cloud comp there, and of course it was raining all day. It was like, God damn it.
Yeah. I wanna. I don't know if we're planning on it. You know, hey, it's Hostful, so we can talk whatever the fuck we want. But I want to talk about that, about the cloud comp versus the trick comp.
Yeah,
And,
let's do it.
You know, and the reason is here's something that I was talking to a local guy here, and I'd say a few weeks ago, a shop had a cloud comp, you know, and
As they're one.
as you know, many do. There was some money involved, and there was prizes and stuff like that, and he showed up late, right? So the cloud comp started at this time. He showed up about an hour later. He said that he didn't even go into the store because it was people sitting outside, and it was just you couldn't even see inside the store.
Just
And
rolling out.
we sometimes make we exaggerate things, you know, where you could say, oh, you know, it was hazy, right? There's a difference between hazy and you can't really see. Yeah, it was like that, and it was just rolling out out the front door, and I don't blame them. You know, I honestly think that if you're gonna have an outing or a vape meet or something like that, the last 10 or 15 minutes or 30 minutes should be the cloud comp, right? Because if you do that first or you do it in the middle, it really, what you know, the You Can't Live in Vapor was really shown at like something where if you're there the whole time, I can't believe that people can actually be vaping 6 and 12 at places like that. because I mean, you are sitting there. There's a lot of vape in the air. I mean, you can feel it.
The studies keep coming back that shows there's very, very little nick in the air, but I think the most of it is it's the VG and smells that get me.
And the lack of fresh oxygen, really. That's really what it is.
Yeah. I got a kick out of the vinyl floor or the stick-on tiles. That stuff gets slick and it was a mixture of the moisture in the air. And that's another thing too, because you know what? You kind of feel like that when down here in a muggy day in Florida and you're walking outside, you can take some of the heat away, but that's kind of what it feels like in being in something, like that. It's heavy. The air's heavy. And that's when people love doing cloud comps, right? You blow them. But anyways, to get back to my cloud comp thing that I was talking about, I think that I'm not going to say type of people, but the clientele that you get when you're hosting a cloud comp, I think might be a little different than if you host any other kind of competition, like a trick competition or something like that. And we all know that there's all kinds of tricks and tips to blowing the biggest cloud, but at the end of the day, you're just blowing the biggest cloud, right? And I know I'm sure going to get some serious hate about it. Okay, I know it's coming. That's okay. I can take it because other people didn't want to say it. But it's true. I mean, I've watched some of the cloud comps. I mean, and everything was friendly and nice. Come on, now we've most of us have been in this business or hobby for over 4 years. Okay, think back to when. I mean, I can still remember that the meets that I was going to, 2 and 3 years ago, I would show up with my Mini that you can plug into the wall, and people can attest to this. Dry Burning Man that had one, and I would just plug in, and I'd be at 50, 55 watts, and it was kind of embarrassing because I would just blow the hugest fucking cloud in one side of this restaurant. It was like, huge. People were like, what the hell? And, back then everything was friendly, all that. And then all of a sudden something changed. And we talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this when we were all together up there this weekend, and we figured out, it's when money started coming into the equation, just like everything else, right?
Serious mind too, yeah.
Serious, right? So it was $1,000 here, $1,000 there, Now it was $5,000, then it was $10,000, and then not to be outdone, then it was 50,000, and now they're talking about what, 100,000 overseas in the UK for a cloud blowing competition.
That is what a guy that I know on a sponsored cloud team told me.
So here's the thing, all right? All these, as far as I know, okay, I'm not an expert in the cloud competitions. All of these have always been judged by people, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when there's this much money on the line, you're going to get fights. You're going to get crooked judging, people not wanting to be. How easy would it be? Hey, bro, I'm doing $50,000 cloud comp. I'll swing you $10,000 if you judge for me. There's 5 judges. Everybody gets $1,000. Whatever, right? So if you're gonna spend that much money, you gotta take the human factor out of it. I mean, yeah, and in judging, a lot of things are still judged like that, but you're judging distance, thickness, and cloud. Where if you do something like a trick competition, it doesn't matter, having this gigantic Atti that you can blow some serious clouds. You actually have to, and that's what I'm saying. I'm sure I'm going to get hate about it, but
I think there's serious work involved in vape tricks. Now, I foresee the same problems. If it takes off and there's big money, I foresee the same problems. Right?
Someone in chat just said, just blow the clouds into balloons and measure them.
Yeah. Now, I see exactly the same problems if trick comps take off into big money. But trick comps are fun as fuck to watch.
Yeah.
Cool to watch somebody who has put in a whole bunch of time practicing to do really cool shit. There's really an art and a skill to it, as opposed to how much can I hold in my lungs at this point in time?
Right.
Yeah.
So I personally, and I know we did a trick comp there, and it wasn't hugely popular because they're new. But I really hope that trick comps take off.
Yeah.
Well,
It was fun. It was fun to watch. It was fun to
idea.
they already are really.
Yeah.
The prize pools at least in like the major comps are like not as high as the cloud comps, but they're still good money.
And I think too, I don't want to say safer because I don't want to be stereotyped under these are safer to do or not. But I would beg to just my personal opinion and my guess that a trick competition might be a little bit safer because you're not needing high amperage mechanical devices to
Well, it
do
doesn't.
the tricks.
It doesn't rely on you pushing batteries past where they're meant to be. And one of the things that we're going to talk about later tonight is how some of the batteries that you thought could handle it probably can't.
Yeah.
Again.
To the point on the gear too, real quick. The guy that won, his name was Jorge. The guy that won, he was using a Sigelli 150, and I'm not kidding. When he took his drag to he was blowing O's, he was doing all kinds of stuff. When he took his drag, it was literally. I mean, that's literally it. It was not a. It was just.
Right.
And it just busting out O's out a little bit. The guy was talented, and it was interesting, and it did not require. Yeah, it didn't require a 0.02 coil.
When he took that O and he bent it and it went up and it just went straight up like this, I was like, oh. But I mean that makes sense, right? You sit there and you vape, and you hold it in, and you're not going to get a lot of show, right? So a shorter hit is more, but. No, and I think
you see me blowing O's all the time. It's a lot. I have a lot of fun doing it. That's what
I think.
I don't agree on that.
I don't know. I think the crowd that you're seeing, and I'm not saying cloud competitions are bad or you're just gonna get a bunch of thugs going to it or whatever it might be. I've seen it. I've seen it at conventions and I've seen it at shops. It's
after
it's CLCDs.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out, and that is the lowest common denominator. So there you go.
I mean, after the Vape Expo New Jersey debacle, I went to a cloud comp for a shop's grand opening, and we got there a little later. Like we ate, and then we headed over there. And like Matt said, there were just a bunch of people outside. There was no room to go into that shop. Like there were literally like one person halfway in the door, like
Nick Not Green was asking if the trick comps had to have a build super low.
Nope.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, from my understanding, and at least the more competitive trickers that I've talked to, a lot of them don't use very hot builds because. I've tried to do tricks like I had this set at like 140 watts and I was trying to blow O's. Like it hurts because you have to hold the vape in, and that can irritate your shit. So I mean, I think that dude actually that dude's build was like at 110 watts. I think that he was doing it at because that's why he was able to take the super short drags. But
So,
generally, I know they don't do super hot stuff.
Well,
Grim just said something I think is key. Honestly though, who cares if somebody wants to do a cloud comp? Let them. It doesn't affect you directly, and I completely agree. It doesn't.
Sure.
I think what Massey and what we're saying is it would be cool if the trick thing took off too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And maybe.
I think it would be.
Yeah, I'm just and I'm putting it in the way of I honestly think okay, yes, people will show up to see a cloud competition, but I think watch the Instagram videos of people doing tricks. People really like to see that. I honestly think people seeing somebody, with a marked wall blowing a cloud is not as cool as watching that. So I think they're on the rise, and I'd love to see, that much money for trick competitions too.
Well, and it's I talked to somebody who's very very prominent in the in the cloud scene a while back, and I don't necessarily want to name him just because I don't want to throw him under the bus with this, because he's part of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
What he said to me was, a few years ago, it really mattered. A cloud comp was very skill. It was very, how many holes do you drill in your Atti? How do you do your build? How do you do this? How do you do that? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now, almost every Atti works about the same. They all have massive amounts of air. It's really ultimately what your lungs can take and if you get a good pull.
Yeah.
There's no, skill in build or no skill in, how you've prepared your Atti anymore. Which is a little bit different than what it was then.
Yeah. It's all just evolving, right?
Yep.
In the beginning, people started seeing the cloud competitions, and they were like, that's, pretty awesome, and then they took off. And then the amount of money that was being put into them, that was some serious business.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it'll be nice. It'll be interesting to see what it evolves into next. So
Ruby and Grim have said that the larger trick comps are paid out very similarly to cloud comps, 10K for Vape Capital, which is awesome. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that I think cloud comps are ruining vaping, because I don't. I don't think that at all. I just tend to find the trick comp scene to be significantly more interesting and significantly less dramatic.
I notice a lot more collab videos with famous trickers on Instagram and stuff. It's really cool. I guess our point is that since there's been so much money in the scene, it's just it's not the prettiest thing to watch, at least. I'm less likely to go out to cloud comps now because I'm walking into all this drama that I have no track of but sense it, because of cloud teams and stuff, and I've heard stories of fights breaking out at these things. It is nuts,
And I'm sure that stuff can happen at trick competitions too.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, as more competition gets, but at least you can have multiple things that you can judge on, right? And I know that the cloud competitions, there's still multiple things you judge on, but every day I just keep seeing new tricks coming up. People just keep coming up with this shit. I'm like, man, that's pretty interesting.
Dude, it's gotten so crazy. I could do a jellyfish now, maybe every few times I try it, but people are headbutting shit and breaking into 3 and just some real airbender shit. I was like, oh. I have a lot of fun doing it myself.
Flitz.
I'm not
selfie stick. He's going to start using the selfie stick so he can become a vape model. Do it, Flitz.
All that being said, though, we've probably spent way more than we should have on that.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I felt like it was a productive discussion. We never really addressed
That's
it.
what Hostful's about, bro.
Yeah.
But we do. We do have quite a bit.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we move to something else?
Like my news.
Who's got some news?
Important stuff.
Yeah. Started off light first. This came across my desk circa Mr. Project 2501 because he knows that I struggled with this mod the first week I had it, the SX Mini. He linked me these. For those who don't know, the night before I left for VCC Pittsburgh, I almost chucked my SX Mini across the room because I couldn't figure out the cap. But I didn't, and I ended up figuring out the cap that weekend. But this guy made these caps. What the hell's his name? Damn it. He posted on Reddit. No. There you go. Not one to question is his handle. Anyway, so he made a better threaded SX Mini cap. Of course, Reddit is freezing now. They are $15. I may get one. I'm not sure. I think I know a couple people may have ordered them. I'll ask them, but that is what it looks like. Basically, it's designed so that you can get your fingers in there, to get it loose. I got used to doing the SX Mini dance myself, as has Angsty. But we'll see. We'll see what people think of it. I may just end up getting them because I do love my Mini. But yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, I think that thing's pretty cool because that is one of the hard things about this is unlike the Flask, that slot is not very conducive to a coin. It's super shallow. It's not the right shape, and it's I end up just jamming my thumb meat in it, and just and that would just make it a lot easier. It's a little more traction.
So interesting piece there. Next order of business, something that has tickled my fancy, if you will.
Wait. Charlie also said that looks like a silver butthole. It does kind of look like a silver butthole.
Reflex, yes, you will see a jellyfish on Instagram soon enough. I actually took a video the other day, and it was just out of frame when it was in its infancy on frame, and then it grew up and shit after the fact. So something that has tickled my fancy is this piece here from Mr. Todd himself. This is the. Can you read that?
No.
You're gonna have to read it to people.
Todd had posted this and said, "This is the prototype for a mod I will be making. Of course, there will be a fire button, 510, and maybe some other features, but right now I need lots of money so that I can build these. I will, of course, be using your money to fund this project, but don't panic. You know me through the internet. What could possibly go wrong? Send me £300 and the remaining balance of £5 to be paid in a few months' time when I finish them. Possibly. Maybe longer."
Mostly.
Well, I don't know who he was making fun of or whatever, but if this is for real...
I think he's just making fun of the trend.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're going to talk about that, we have to talk a little bit about the trend that exists within that scene.
Yeah.
Where a modder comes out with a rendering of a device.
Hey, Burl.
Oftentimes, only a rendering of a device. And he goes, "Hey, I want to make this mod. Who's interested? X1. By the way, I need X amount of money right now to pay for it, to build it for you, and then I'll ship it to you." They give an estimated date that oftentimes is way, way longer. And, I mean, a few modders have walked away with a whole bunch of people's money.
Yes, they have. It's a bunch of shit.
I broke Angsty. Got him.
That was such a good joke.
It was.
It was so
really
funny.
was.
That's so good.
So, I mean, Todd's really just kind of trying to bring out that whole issue, right? Because it's a pretty kind of a serious issue.
It is a serious. It's a bunch of shit. I mean, okay, fine. There's a big Kickstarter movement, right? The whole crowdfunding thing. It exists. It's the thing, and that's what they're trying to do here. The problem is, like Kickstarter, there's no guarantee that you're ever going to see your shit, right?
Right.
Like that German dude that scammed all the people in the Safer Vapors and other groups in the UK, right? And just literally walked away with all their money. And every now and then he'd come back and he'd post something, but it would be a bogus, chopped up thing, and then they never saw the mods.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's a big issue that we have in vaping, right?
It happens. It happens every day with the modders.
It does, and it happens all over the place. But I'm still, and I very rarely kickstart stuff for the same reason. I'm very much of the opinion that if you're going to go into business, unless your idea is fucking groundbreaking and you have no money,
Yeah.
I have zero desire to invest in you making more of the same thing so that you can make money.
Right.
Zero desire, especially there's no date, there's no any of that. Like it's a huge risk, and with Kickstarter at least, they're not going to be allowed to kickstart again, or I'm sure Kickstarter has some kind of a rule in place about shit.
Yeah.
To go after the person should they deliver. No, they don't.
Mm-mm.
I really
It's your own risk.
It's totally at your own risk.
Yeah.
Well, I don't expect people to get their money back, but I would figure Kickstarter would go after the person.
Nope. They totally wash their hands of it when it ends, if it's funded.
You know how much that would cost?
It's too messy for them. It's too messy.
Yeah.
They take their cut, they give the people the money, and it takes a couple of weeks or whatever. And after that, Kickstarter says that we're done.
Yep. I'm still to this day, and I have been for a long time, very against prepaying for shit.
Unless you happen to know and or trust the person personally or whatever. But the problem is, there's all these, high-end modders coming out all the time, and some of them have nice-looking gear, and some of them make a couple of them, right?
Well, and a lot of people want to get on first. They want to be the first person to get a hold of it,
right?
So that they have it during the hype moment, so that they can profit if they decide that they don't like it and they want to profit or trade.
Yeah.
But there's a really good reason to. There's incentive in the modding scene as it exists, there's incentive to jump on this shit quick.
Yeah.
Because things have such a short lifespan, so people jump on it not well knowing if they're getting scammed or not.
Right.
Yeah, and to roll that into, I did see, I saw a post talking a little bit about this, talking about fake reviews, whether it's mods or juice or stuff like that. But what happens is you'll see maybe 5 mods made. Those 5 mods go to certain people.
Yeah.
People review them, and everything is gauged on. It's kind of like betting on or futures trading. Or trying to predict what the market is going to do, right? So let's put these out. Let's see what kind of reviews we can get on them. Maybe get a few reviews that are not that are all really positive, even though the device or whatever it is not very good. And then that just gets the hype train going, right? That's when you start seeing pre-orders for 50, 60, 100 of these things, and that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say to people, whether it's with the reviews or with mods or anything like that, one thing that I love to ask other modders or people who are getting into modders is, how long do you plan on doing this?
Yeah.
And here's why. Any of my mods that I've ever made, if there's ever an issue with them, you can always send them back. I'm going to charge you for sending it back, and I'm going to charge you for fixing it because that's only fair. If it's within a warranty period, that's different. But I've made mods that are, I just had a guy that came and visited today, and he's had a mod of mine for 4 years, and every so often, I'll swap the batteries out on it because they're going to go bad, or whatever it might be. There's a lot of modders that can't say that or can't give you an answer, right?
Or they're gone.
They're just
they're
like,
gone. They catharlex. And you see this every day. I mean, you see the posts on Reddit, you see them on ECF about this guy, great guy, great person, something really happened, life happened, shit happened, right? And that's it. But some just completely just disappear without any information, nothing.
Nope.
And
sometimes with your mod.
Sometimes with your mod.
And the big problem is it's at such a tenuous point at this point that when you finally get a guy who comes in who legitimately has something happen in his life, everybody cries, "Oh no, fuck you! We know better. Fuck you!"
Yep. Yeah, dude. If you're a modder and something bad happens in your life, I feel for you. Because you're gonna get fucked up.
Because there's such a long trend of people lying about shit.
Yeah, but it's different, right? Because there's been a row of instances where you get behind, and then you really get behind as a modder, whether it's repairs or right. Guess what? If you don't owe anything to anyone, shit can happen in your life, and the only thing that's going to affect is you. It's not going to affect your customers unless you're having issues with your mods and you're having to send them in and return and fix them. If you put out 100 mods and 50, 60 of them are having to come back because of issues, then I understand that. But hey, when shit happens and you already got shit being piled on, that just gets even worse. So
what makes it worse is when you start getting behind and you have to put out another list to pay for the stuff that you're making to make your money back.
Yeah, and being honest, right? I mean, I get people all the time that will say, "Hey, can I send you this?" or "Can you fix this for me?" And I'll tell them straight out, "Hey, I can't. I got a real life job, and I got Plume shit going on, and I have my own mods going on. I would love to fix it for you, but I won't take a mod in that's going to sit in a table for a week or 2 or 3, and I can't touch it." Right? I mean, that's not fair. And I'll have people say, "I don't care. You can keep it for a year." No, I won't do that.
The problem is they say that
because Matt, you still feel shitty holding on.
Be like, "Yo, bro, you done with my mod? You done?"
Yeah. No, but that's the problem is that you want to be nice and you have to learn to say no. And if you're on the other side of this, if you're a customer or a person that has a friend that's a modder, think about it from that perspective too. The person's trying to be nice, but you have to learn how to say no, because if not, you're just going to get behind on anything else that you're doing. right? And that's the best part is if you don't know anyone anything, you're fine. You didn't promise people 10 mods, 100 mods, whatever it might be, and not be able to deliver. But hey, there's nothing that we can tell you to help you with this except trust your gut. If you have met this person and you know them and they're a good friend, I mean, I've seen instances where that's the case too. The dude just vanishes, gone, doesn't even live in the same place anymore. You know, debt collectors are looking. If they can't find them, you're not going to find them. So, you see stories like that all the time. I mean, you see people posting, help, $400 out, help, $300 out.
Yep. I did one. I did a one pre-order for Sony VTC 5s, and I never got them. And I don't think I've done. And I did another pre-order after that. I don't think I've done one since.
Yeah.
I can admit, I just prepaid for something today that's not going to be shipped for 2 weeks, but it's an established company. They've been kicking out mods for now a long time. My stuff's coming at some point, and if it doesn't, fine. At least they're an existing company. And
2 weeks is better than my 60-day wait.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
The only person I'd pre-order with is Eric from Silverstein because we have a mutual understanding of thumb breaking. So,
Hey, where you bust his balls?
Where you busting his balls for? His red hand's gonna grow and beat you.
Stop busting my balls. Where's my mod?
Where's my mod?
Where's my mod? Where?
All right. Hey, we've got. That was a hell of a rabbit trail, dude. We're like an hour in.
Yeah. I think we need more hostfuls.
I think we do need more hoostfuls.
I think we need more names, more shows with a name.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this thing for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, does you have anything else to talk about first?
Oh, I was going on his list. Did you have anything that's not on your list?
Nah, I think I might. I got a lot of Charlie Noble I'll be talking about next week.
Sweet.
Some stuff.
All right, yeah, let's talk about that.
So times.
This is the Phenotype-L by Aria. Beyond Vape sent us each 3 free of charge. Thank you very much, Beyond Vape, for us to look at. I'm just happy to see that this Atti that Homeboy put out is really pretty cool. And to honor him, I did build something slightly redonkulous in mine that I've had in here for a little while now. I actually wrapped up a couple Claptons. No, I didn't buy these. I wrapped them. That's Anarchist 24 with the core, and then outside it's 32 gauge Canthal. Works really well. If you've never wrapped one of these things, it's really easy. I don't remember when I wrapped my first. These are my second 2 that I've ever. Or sorry, this is number 2, number 3 I've ever made, and they turned out all right. And I tell you, if you've got an old Pro Tank head sitting around, it makes this thing so easy, especially if you got one of those little, what do they call them again? The Beetle-on coil minders.
Yeah.
Just put the little head on this thing and just roll it right out, man. It's easy as hell. This thing kicks.
It does.
The Atti has got crazy room to build stuff in, as you would expect from Homeboy. It's a really interesting Atti. Is it my particular normal vape? No.
Well, I want to play Build Show Off too, since I kind of tried to go outside my own comfort zone.
Actually,
with parallels, with incredibly messy parallels at that, but they fucking go.
Yeah, I do.
Did Manny build that?
No, I build them. They're just bad. I don't build like that, man. I build one build. Just because this is Homeboy's Atti, I decided to build more than one build.
Right. And even with those redonkulous coils, and you're probably the same way, I still only have like 1 1/4 holes open per side.
I have 2 open.
Do you have 2 open?
What's going to be great? What's going to be great is he's going to watch this as me and you, the 2 guys who build nothing special, talk about building something special because it's his Atti, and I know for a fact he watches the show without pants on, so I'm going to be very curious about his erection next time.
It was the tightest of buttholes. It was the loosest of buttholes.
That's what we should have named the show.
Yeah. Now, if anybody is wondering, obviously you can see the giant air slots in this thing, and with a build like I've got in there, you just have to give it some spurs, right? I've got mine running at 88.8 miles an hour right now. I mean watts, and and it does. It finally heats up after a second and just chucks.
Nick Not Green just mentioned in chat a point I was actually going to bring up. When Homeboy was on Reader's Q last week, he actually credited most of the design to Solid Vapor.
We just got that in chat. So
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah, apparently, Dwayne was telling me about him. He's like he was saying he's a super crazy cloud chaser dude, and that's his airflow. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
It's called
Also the wall.
Phenotype-L.
Yeah. Phenotype-L. Phenotype-L. And Beyond Vape sells them. Aria Built, which is like Beyond Vape's sister company, makes them, but Beyond Vape sells them. You can find them on their site. Very cool, very interesting. It came with a normal sort of top cap, but also the chuff style guy. Seems to be well made. Mine was not dirty when I got it, as most Beyond Vape things are super clean. I didn't have any spurs or anything in mine. There, no machine oil. It was very clean.
I like the inward curve of the mouthpiece.
Yeah, I do too.
I like that, but this is what I don't like about it.
Oh, yeah.
That shape makes it really hard to take off.
You just have to tilt it to the side.
That bend is going to be turned into a GIF.
You have to take it and push to the side and then pop up.
Yes, you can. But it's a little annoying.
So I am not the guy who's had a whole bunch of fucking massive cloud blowing Attis. I've had a couple. I've had a couple Attis that have enough airflow for a good long inhale and a big cloud. I don't think I've ever had one that was quite like this though. I don't think I've ever had one that had quite the output.
That's because you didn't build the what was the other Beyond Vape when they sent out the Vesuvius.
Yeah, well, what am I gonna put on a 26-650 Atti on? It's gonna overhang like 5 feet.
It looked actually
there's no bog rod for that.
It looked really good on the dog box.
I don't have a B box.
That's the only thing I had that looked good on. It looked great on it.
Speaking of V-boxes, actually, I gave my Vesuvius to Dog Mods. He was the first person I thought of. I asked him, do you need a 30mm Atti? I know he's privy to B-boxes, so...
I'm just saying,
that's got a good home.
I sent mine to C Death because he's a cool dude.
It's not a long inhale. It's even on a sharp,
That's why I put it at 1 and 1 1/4 or so, because then you get at least a little bit of restriction.
But I'm just saying, you get a massive cloud even off of a very sharp, short inhale.
Oh yeah.
So if that's your thing,
this will do it.
As we did a whole thing about cloud comps and blah. If your thing is clouds, this will do it.
That's for sure. Especially if you put one of these silly builds on it.
Do you want to live in vapor? This is the fastest way to do it.
This is the fastest way to do it. And now after that done, I'm going to go back to this thing, which is much more my speed.
Yes.
Anything else? Phenotype-L.
I kind of dig it for what it's for. I like having something here that's for that, just to test juices that I get in that are meant for that purpose.
Right.
So it's nice in that sense. It is well made. It is a cool Atti. It's fairly inexpensive. If that's your thing, which it's not mine all the time, you'll probably adore it. And the black one is super fucking cool looking.
Mm-hmm. It does look a little bit like about a 65 caliber.
Yeah.
Or so. Maybe.
Yeah.
It stays pretty cool too. I mean, obviously having the big ass air holes. I thought that removing that much material might hinder it, but it works pretty good.
I mean, Dwayne's a pretty cool guy.
But it is. I mean, we should say. So now I'm sure people are like, "Oh well, Dwayne's just your friend, and you're just saying cool things." But it's a lot of air. Even on one hole open, it's a shit ton of air. So
it's like Stellaire airflow.
Keep that in mind. Don't buy it and be like, "Bro, this can get stuck in my throat, and I can still breathe through it." Yeah.
For science right now, and I think I had this thinking all the
I'm
way.
just saying, this is the type of stupid fucking comments we get on our
Stuck in my
goddamn
throat,
videos. I'm serious. That's the shit we get.
I've had this thing fully open one time, I think, and I've just fully opened it again, just for the effect of how much air it is fully open. Let's see if I can.
I couldn't even begin to come up with the comments that we get. I mean, that's just.
Oh wait, here we go.
Yeah, you can do that. But you gotta bend way over.
I think Sean flooded his bandwidth with that cloud.
Can we get a little choo-choo train noise when you do that?
No, choo-choo train, not hoe train.
That's the best I can do while blowing, and I might have just burnt my cotton.
Oh man,
It will burn through juice incredibly quickly.
I don't have a choo-choo sound. I'm looking. I don't think so.
All right. So that's that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this. Now, this is not new. This particular model is somewhat new.
Doesn't all that airflow make you fart?
It probably does. It probably does. So this particular version is slightly new, but not the thing itself. This is the Origin Genesis atomizer. They call it an Origini, and it is. Here's the TLDR. I finally found a Genesis style atomizer that I like. Go figure. Angsty found something that he likes. That's a Genesis style thing.
Well, it did take you a little bit, right? Because you were getting a few dry hits.
The very first build I put in there, I was getting a few dry hits because it was a single coil, and everything was locked up. For whatever reason, I got it kind of vacuum locked, I think, because it was feeding great with the filled plug out, and not that great with it in. It was okay, but it wasn't. It was like a drier hit. It wasn't a dry, but it was not as like saturated that I was expecting it to be. But the neat thing about this Mark II that's out is the center post is super easy to adjust. I actually was able to, with an existing coil and wick, coil and wick another coil in it to make a dual coil and not disturb my existing one. And it was anarchist, so that requires just a little bit of teasing and pinching and pulsing and stuff. And I was able to do it really easily. And once I got the dual coil in, this thing feeds like none other. It's really, really, really interesting. So the reason I like it is because it's not a traditional Genesis atomizer in that it's super flexible and you can actually build it. It's made to build with cotton native in it. It's got 2 holes for cotton. It's got 2 holes for mesh, and a fill hole. And it's really, really neat. I will give you an idea, too. The other thing that's kind of cool, I got the smaller one because everybody knows I kind of like small setups and things that I can easily pocket. The thing that's kind of cool is, what did I compare it to before? Here is a velocity. Right? There it is. So that's sitting next to a velocity. It's basically the same size as a velocity.
Can you say tight butthole on that, Atti?
And this holds 4 mil of juice.
Really?
It's crazy. Now they make a 6 mil one that's a little bit taller, but I decided to not do that. And actually, now that I've got this, I kind of wish I got the 6 mil one because this thing drinks juice, boy. It is a gobbling juice beast especially with 2 coils in it. The other thing that's kind of cool about it is the airflow adjustment. While it's a little, how shall we say? It's a little Jenny-like in that you have to make sure the air holes line up with the coils and all that stuff like you'd expect. But it's a little bit manual, but it's got a lot of options for juice flow, or for airflow rather. Let me go ahead and pull this off and show you. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to a minuscule like 1.2 mil air hole, and you can run 2 of those. Or on one side, it's actually got stacked like 1.2 holes too, if you're just running a single coil, of course. So there's just a ton of options in here. I've been running it with dual coil with a second to largest holes, and it's a super comfortable lung hit. Not wide open, but it's a restricted lung hit that's really very pleasant. It's very pleasant. I can safely say, including the Nectar, this is one of the more flavorful vapes I've got that I've ever tried. It's nice and warm like a Jenny is, but it's not too warm. It's got these ridiculous heat sinks, which are actually somewhat functional on this thing because it does get pretty warm. It's a Genesis atomizer. Really tasty. Really tasty. And it's not terribly expensive. I think, if I recall, it was $120, which is not cheap by any measure. But when you compare it to things like the K-4, you compare it to the Rose, Ubertude, Hurricane, any of these like kind of nicer Attis, it's pretty solid. It's really, really solid. I will also say that one thing I wasn't terribly impressed with is it arrived to me basically in a little jiffy bag like this. So presentation, not so great, but crap loads of extras in it, which, props. Props. Unlike the Hurricane, shitloads of extras. I mean, like all of your additional O-rings, more screws. You even get a spare fill plug, which is that little guy right there. Really, really nice. Now, this is compared to, and I should give at some point a little hat tip to Craig from the Hangouts, as well as the folks at Music City Vape Sauce and Ruby and Karmic. All these guys have had, or at least tried, the Origini, and they were the ones that pushed me towards it, to at least give it a whack. And I'm glad they did, because it was really, really tasty. Now, one of the things that drives me nuts about the Nectar is to fill it. It's a little bit of a pain. Sean minds it less. He's less irritated than I am. I find it a little annoying that you have to pull out one of your wicks to fill it, because the air's got nowhere for it to go, especially with a thicker liquid. That, while it's a nice big fill port there, it's still not enough room for the air to escape as you fill it. It's just a one little tiny, slight irritation that kind of irritates me. But the other thing that gets me is, but this one in particular, the Micro, is like, was it a 1.4 mil tank? So I find myself filling this thing a lot. So because of the fact that I'm filling it a lot, the filling process is slightly annoying, right? This thing, you pop the cap off. You take that plug out right there. You got to fit my big sausagey fingers, and even I can do it. Take the thing out, you jam a bottle in, you squeeze it. Put the little thingy back on it. To me, it's significantly easier, and this one holds 4 mil, so you don't have to do it as much. So it's easier and holds more. I like it. Very, very flavorful, very tasty, and I'm still zoomed in. Let me get out.
I mean, I'd say if you're getting into rebuildable tanks, I'd say stay away from Gen A.
Stay away from the Gen A. Super easy build. Super easy build. Unlike I was expecting the vertical coils to be a little bit of a pain. It wasn't. I used my Coil Master jig, and once I had the coils wrapped, I used the little sizing guy, and just with the coil on it, just dropped it into the hole, tighten them down, bing, bang, boom, done. Easy. I also tried another build while I was there in Maryland this weekend. I made like a Nectar-like build. So instead of single or dual verticals, I made one that kind of spanned across both holes and then ran like a U-wick down to the tank. No problem. No problem. But to me, it wasn't quite as dense of a flavor as you get with the dual coil in here. So I went back to this when I got back here. I will say that because of how vertical wicks wick, you clearly only have one wick down in the tank. So therefore you only have one end of the wick feeding your coil. And while I found this to feed great, and the tops of the wicks were always soaking wet with juice in a really good way, I did find that Anarchist, probably because it runs really hot, I think it kind of roasted the cotton a little faster than Canthal has been doing today. Now,
how wide of coils were you doing?
3 mil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried to do a nice fatty one so that there's lots of juice in the middle of it there, so that way I can run it a little hotter. I've got it 36.5 watts at the moment. That's great. Yeah, I think Anarchist may be a little bit hot for only one side of the wick feeding it. Canthal's running well, but I think that may be, and this is because I don't normally run vertical coils, but I do find that the cotton is gumming up more quickly than it does like in the Nectar. The Nectar does with...
Pick one up specifically because you can do the Nectar style build.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't like only having one end of the wick dipped in and saturated. I don't like those big tufts at the top. And it could just be that they haven't vaped well for me in a lot of things in the past. They didn't vape well for me on the Origin Dripper. But a lot of even just the little stuff that you're saying, it tends to gunk up a little bit faster.
It does.
Stuff like that. So, but because you can do a horizontal wick with both leads in, that makes it a lot more appealing to somebody like me.
Sure. Plus you have those little silly stack holes that you like.
Yeah.
Stacked holes are nice on the next gen when I vaped on one.
Yeah, that was the first one I tried on with a single coil. So anyway, the deck is super flexible. There's lots of different builds that you can do in there, and it's made to do all those things really well. I'm a big fan of this thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be one of these ones that I keep around forever, but the chamber small tastes good. Lab Rat's never tasted better than it does out of here, even really out of a dripper for me. Tasty. Oh yeah, and New Mods gave me a tip this weekend that matches my Sea Death sleeve. That was very kind of him. Thank you. Oh. And on briefly related note, so my Nectar Micro, when I got it, it was pre-owned, which is fine, but even on my first build, my negative post spun. I wanted to give the guys at AmeriPoint some props. I hit them up on Facebook and I said, hey, this happens. You know, is there a way that I can fix it? Because it looked like there may have been a nut on the bottom that I could, you know, maybe do something with. So there's a bit of a language barrier that they are out of Moscow. So a little bit of a language barrier, but we worked through it, and I finally got across what the problem was, and they basically offered me to send me another deck, or bottom plate rather, which is where the negative is attached. They just offered to send it to me if I paid shipping, as long as I returned the other one, which to me, and I was clear with them that I was not the original purchaser, and no, I didn't mention the show or anything. I was just to do it on Facebook, and they were very friendly, and they did send one out, and when I got it, they didn't just send that, they actually sent a whole another Atti, so I did turn around and send it back to them. So I have to say AmeriPoint gets a thumbs up for customer service. That was super cool of them, and it was worth every penny of the the money that I paid shipping to and fro to have my Atti working. I thought that was really cool of them for support. Next, briefly, just going to talk about this thing. So when I was there in Maryland, Sean lent me his Typhoon GT2 in Gigantor mode for me to try out because I haven't had one.
It was a rescue Typhoon.
It was a rescue. So I showed up at his house and I went to use the restroom when I first got there, and I looked in the sink, and there was a K-Fun or it was a Clear of some kind.
It was the Typhoon and the Triton.
The Typhoon just sitting in the sink. Just hadn't been there for who knows how long.
A couple days because it fell off my desk and I cracked the little tank and it was leaking everywhere, so it went in the sink.
Yeah. So I got this home and I built it. I'm vaping Raspberry out of here because I'm very familiar with it and it's good tank juice. So it was an easy build. I built it kind of like I built the Hurricane a while back with the S-Wick. It built really well. The airflow is nice and smooth. It's enormous. I hate the fact it's 23 millimeter, although you have the little reducer guy to get it down to 22 at the bottom, but it's still just like.
It says, please, Angsty, put it in an 18650 mech.
An 18650 mech?
Yeah, well, he would need a 23 millimeter 18650 mech.
All right, hold on. I'll do this while I'm talking. So lots of airflow options. The airflow is very smooth. And the thing that struck me first was how not dirty, but how much I tasted the build. Like it tasted like Canthol. It tasted like a cotton. It was weird, but I took that to be actually a good sign in that it must be a pretty flavorful tank. And I hate to judge it because I literally have only been vaping this thing today. So I'm not gonna give like a final verdict on it, but I have to say it does vape pretty well now that I've vaped through the break-in period. Sean, you said it's thick, or the vape. How did you describe it? I forgot.
Dense.
Dense. That's what you said. It was dense. I don't find it any more dense than anything else personally. I think it's relatively good. Let me zoom in and I'll show you this on a mech that I put in here. So this is it on a triple T from Fortune Mods, the 18240 mod. So there you go. Mostly Atti sticking out of my hand, really, and I've just got it like right there.
Wait, if you sit it on the desk, does it just flip upside down?
Just the weeble wobble, but they don't fall down. Yeah. Oh, that needs to be a gift too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was blurry.
Oh, it was blurry. Oh,
yeah, it was.
Okay, so they were asking to actually be on a 650 mech. I actually only have one 650 mech, and I haven't actually used it in quite some time. It's a 18500 or 650. So I'm gonna telescope it out. So it looks roughly 650 sized.
That Atti is like it's like Angela Davis's hair on her head.
There you go. Big old pie.
That actually looks pretty good on the podcast.
Yeah, it's all right. This is a Pisces T that I got about 1 million years ago when Todd reviewed it way back in the day. So that's what it looks like on a big old mech. Looks like a lightsaber.
Looks like Megatron's dick.
Be careful with that thing. I might poke my eye out. Oh yeah, and that I've got like a little Omen tip on it. You should see the regular tip. It's like that long and looks ridiculous. So I didn't.
Put it on. Do you still have your DS60?
Do I still have my DS60? No, you know what? I never had one of those. I never.
I thought you had one.
I never ended up buying one.
You know, that's almost man. Somebody's echoing. That putting that on that mech is almost as crazy as when people buy or do things to match their mod. I don't know if you guys saw. Let's
like that.
I'm actually gonna have a tip made to match my tugboat.
That
maybe.
Well, when they accessorize, something like let's see if I can find the right picture. This was this one right here. Why is that still coming up like that? Well, I guess I can't get the right file. Oh, there it is. So this past weekend we helped Fu buy his new car, and he got the rims to match his type. So, congratulations, Fu. You're color coded now.
I'm now officially ghetto fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Was that like a 1994 Mustang?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It was not a good Mustang. That's
The old
it's
school
not my favorite.
chunky rims with the dimples on it.
Yeah.
They had like golf ball dimples on it.
So there's that. The last thing I want to talk about is something that I thought I would never discuss on this show. So I've been using cotton for 2.5 years when people first started talking about organic cotton balls and whatever. I went out and tried some organic cotton balls, and I never touched EcoWool or silica again because I really liked it. And then everybody kind of moved on, and we all started using Japanese cotton pads, and it was all great. And some of us started spending exorbitant amounts of money on.
I've seen some people use vape rags.
You've seen some people use vape rags. Maybe, I don't know. You can wash them. They're probably partially plant matter.
Don't try that.
Yeah, don't do that. But at this point, even once you got with the cotton ball thing, the Japanese cotton pads basically wick the same, right? I always cut a bit off. You make a loose roll with it, and you point one end and you put it through with a little bit of resistance, but not too much resistance. And to me, I always wick on my drippers down to it just touches the bottom of the deck into the shoe swell. Same with the K-Fun, just touching it, and I always felt like less is more for cotton. I saw this week something that's kind of changed how I'm wicking. This is not the person that apparently invented it, but this is the first and only person that I found on YouTube who's doing it, and he calls it the Scottish roll. I'm gonna paste a link to his YouTube channel. He's only got like 3 videos, but it's a Scot that's doing this. So basically, what it entails is you take a cotton pad, and he splits it in thirds, 2/3 on one side, 1/3, chunks the 1/3, and then does this. I actually just busted mine in half, and then with all the fibers of your pad, say they're all vertical. He basically takes it and teases them apart very gently all the way across. So it ends up being like double, not like this, but like this. Different. Both effective methods, Boo. Both effective methods. You got to switch it up every now and then, right? Anyway, so he teases it apart, so it ends up being about twice as long as it normally is. Then you cut off like 2 inches, and then do like a cigar roll. like just in their own, like you would on mesh or something. You rolls it up, and then puts that through your coil, right? And he's recommending as much cotton as you can possibly fit through your coil, to the point of having to hold your coil in place and pull it through, because otherwise it would deform your coil. I tried that, and I found that you could vape, not only vape a dripper dry, which my normal method, you could definitely do that, but you could vape it till that cotton is turning white. I mean, like back to normal looking, and that's using like a juice that has color, like Labrador or any of the other sorts of more richer juices that have a bit of a color. And my cotton would be white, and I'm still vaping it, and it's not burning because there's still a little bit in the very core. You can taste it getting dry, but it doesn't burn. And I've been doing that for like the last week, and it's been awesome. So definitely check out that video. It's a little bit long. You can fast forward through some of it to get to the part where he stops describing the process and actually does it. Try it out. I think it's really cool. I've been running all of my stuff that I built the last few days like this, and it works really well. Even granted, I'm not a person that's running my drippers really high all the time. A lot of the times I'm running mine, around between 30 and 40 most of the time. But even so, it works like a champ. Give it a whack.
People in chat are saying that Abby Vapes did it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if they said she started it, but they linked her video too.
Cool. Good for Abby. I did not see that, but I certainly, I searched on YouTube when I heard the name. I searched on YouTube, and that's the only one that I saw that looked relatively relevant.
Oh, it's good. I'm kind of glad you didn't Google image search the Scottish roll.
Yeah, that's probably a bad idea. Probably a bad idea.
Probably.
So no, don't let me see your Tootsie Roll. I don't want to see that. No. That's it. That's all I got. I'm done.
Cool. I got a little bit. I didn't have anything new, but I do want to talk about something old. And I mentioned this earlier, but I kind of want to chat about it a little bit, because when we started this show, I vaped one e-juice, and that was it. That was all I ever vaped, is one juice. And then I kind of gravitated away from it for a while, and I started vaping raspberry, and I started vaping other stuff. And I just kind of gravitated away, but I was looking for something this week. I was digging through my drawer to find a contrast to all the fruity stuff that I have sitting on my desk that I've been vaping a lot. And I pulled out a bottle of Nanner Bear that I've had sitting around for about 5 months or so that I think I bought on sale. It's definitely an older bottle. And I decided to fill up a Nectar with it. And I wanted to give it a second to give it a shout out, because I forgot how much I enjoyed the juice. Because it is a really good, really complex, kind of dark, rich tobacco with a bunch of other stuff going on. And I've had it in the Nectar through the weekend and on, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And it was kind of like reconnecting with an old friend kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
So it was really fantastic. So I wanted to give that a shout out. You can get that from Steam Monkey if you're interested. You kind of have to like tobaccos.
Yeah.
And be interested in really kind of weird flavors to like it. But if that's your thing,
there is a predominant banana flavor too. I mean, that's why it's called Nanner Bear. That's the part that makes me not particularly care for Nanner Bear. But I actually like
It's yummy.
Cocoa Bear. Cocoa Bear, I think.
Cocoa Bear is also good.
Yeah.
if I would have found Polar first, I probably would have put that in, which is the mentholated version. But I've really enjoyed coming back to Nanner and vaping that for a little bit, and I'm enjoying it in the Nectar here on this High Horse eye stick.
Yeah.
That's all that I have as far as stuff goes. I do have some other kind of fun stuff. First, let's talk advocacy for a minute, because there's some stuff going on that I think people should know about. First thing people should know about: the National Park Service has banned electronic smoking devices in the nation's park. By the way, it says electronic smoking devices. I remember that being a joke a long time ago.
You would rather, see people drop a cigarette.
Well,
and catch
cigarettes are
instant
also
fire.
banned in national parks.
I know, but I'm just saying.
But so as they said, they put out a memorandum on Monday prohibiting the use of these in places where tobacco smoking is prohibited in national parks. It's effective immediately. Protecting the health and safety of our visitors and employees is one of the most critical duties of the National Park Service. We are therefore extending the restrictions currently in place protecting visitors and employees from exposure to tobacco smoke to include exposure to vapor from electronic smoking devices. So that happened. Be aware of that if you're in a national park. I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't both smoke and vape there. I won't tell you to vape where you're not allowed, but you know. So that kind of sucks. In worse news on the advocacy front, and both of these were sent to me by Chris Sombretto, by the way, before the show, so I was familiarizing myself with these articles during the show, at the start of the show. But thanks, Chris, for sending these over my way. So there's been some final final regulations to limit sale of electronic cigarettes in Massachusetts. So let's talk about what they're trying to do, and one of them is particularly terrifying. First, establishing a minimum sales age of at least 18 or older for electronic smoking devices. Cool with that, although they do say that it could be higher.
Okay.
These next two are really bad. Prohibiting sampling, promotional giveaways, and other free distributions.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
No more vaping in shops.
Prohibiting the sale of e-cigarettes in any manner other than face-to-face exchanges.
Ooh.
No more online sales.
Yeah.
Requiring that e-cigarettes be out of reach of all consumers and in a location only accessible to store employees.
Pretty much always the case, but
Yeah.
Well, unless you have like samples out for testing.
right.
Requiring
Usually
all
on the bar.
e-cigarettes.
Still really stupid though.
Yeah, requiring that nicotine liquid or gel be sold in appropriate child-resistant packaging that meets federal standards. So two of those I kind of agree with. 18 and over, child-resistant packaging. Cool with both of those.
Sure.
They're okay. No sampling and only face-to-face exchanges.
Yeah.
Anybody in Massachusetts, if this goes through, my heart really goes out to you because that will essentially kill vaping in that state. And that will suck.
Mm-hmm. They've been trying to do that in Mass for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just keep coming up with different ways of different wording.
Yep.
Yeah, it's from
It's continual.
from my time visiting shops up there. That was it was something I heard about in probably half to three-quarters of the shops I went to because they're like kind of like Washington in the sense that they're getting pelted really hard with legislation, one after the other, and shops are always, always biting their fingernails over it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Keep everybody please be on the lookout for calls to action from CASAD, for anything from Not Blowing Smoke, from any of the advocacy organizations that are going to cover this. Please be on the lookout because if there's anything that we can do, we should. I'm not for killing vaping in an entire state.
Right.
Somebody said in Boston you can't vape in a shop currently, so you can't sample.
It depends. There are actually, it's on a town-by-town basis.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a shop up in a...
Which is even worse because
there were shops...
driving from one to another, and you go into another town, driving from one state to another usually, unless you live by the border, is, less likely than driving from town to town.
Unless they have a statewide Cleaner Act. I don't remember, but one shop I was at is literally down the street from City Hall, north of Boston. And so it's like, always got to be hush-hush. And then on top of City Hall being there, there's also a congressman that lives like in the other direction on the same block. Contentious.
I did also say that we would talk a little bit about batteries.
Mm.
So let's talk a little bit about batteries. Would you like to cue up the first image, Mast?
Batteries!
So we're going to show an assortment of battery curves, basically, tested at different amperages to see the curve of the battery. Then I'll go over it a little bit. The first is Vamped, which is a vaping battery, 40 amp. That's a hell of a battery, right? Okay.
Next one?
No, hold on.
Okay.
Because this one specifically, because I know that this is a pretty highly used battery in the sub-ohm side.
Yep.
At 10 amp, the discharge barely reached 1600 mAh. It would be expected to go to about 2000 mAh if this was actually a 2300 mAh cell. giving it a capacity of around 1800. At 20 amp, the cell had a moderate maximum temperature of 79 degrees Celsius. At 25 amp, the cell reached max temperature of 91 degrees Celsius, which is too high for the cell to operate. At 30 amp, it reached 99 degrees Celsius, 1 degree below the safety limit of 100 degrees Celsius. Discharges were not done at 35 or 40 amp due to the temperature. An additional cycle at 20 amps showed clear damage from the cycle at 30 amp and possibly the 25 amp discharge. Voltage sag, reduced capacity, and increased temperature. So that is
problematic.
Yeah. Go ahead and jump to the next one, Mass, because we got a couple good ones here. Which one is that one? AWT yellow 40 amp. At 10 amp, it reached 2350, which is a bit below the average performance. At 15 amp, it reached temperature of 67 degrees Celsius. 20 amp, it reached 78 degrees Celsius, which is the average temperature. At 25 amp, though, the temperature rose to 93 degrees Celsius, which is too high. Discharges at 30 and 35 amp were not done because it would have exceeded 100 degrees Celsius. A discharge at 40 was done to show the performance of the cell's AWT rating. Its voltage completely collapsed at 40 amp, rendering it useless.
Okay, so a picture I forgot to share a while back. I jokingly took a picture of my Titan where the Atti met the 510. I was just practicing O's and stuff, and the box got really warm because it inlaid 510. I took a little temperature probe to it that you use for liquid, for like boiling water and stuff, and my Titan, that connector, was about 95 or 96 degrees, and that was the metal portion of the box. The fucking battery's got to be that temperature.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to post the links to the study and everything as this goes. What's next? Next battery?
Yep.
That's backwards.
1 second.
So the next battery is an eFest, purple 30 amp, 2100 mAh battery. Also, subsequently, only a 20 amp battery. At 10 amp, it reached 1900 mAh average. 15 amp, it reached 65 degrees Celsius, too low. At 20 amp, it reached 76, just below the 78 where they thought it would be. At 25 amp, temperature rose to 85 degrees. At 30 amp, it rose 94 to 97, which is much too hot for a 30 amp cell. 5 additional cycles at 30 amp started to show sag.
Ruby was asking about the charts being clear. I don't know. Is it clear on your guys' end? I mean, I can zoom in some.
It looks relatively clear. I'm also sharing the full thread with comments and with
salient information is being read. So
okay,
yeah,
got the links too.
The temperature at 20 amp is very close to a cell for where it's supposed to be, where a cell's supposed to sit. So that basically kind of shows that this sits at about 20 amp too. And I think we have 2 more.
Yep.
The Imran Orange 30 amp. At 10 amp, it was 1800 mAh, so below average performance. At 15 amp, maximum temperature was 64 degrees, too low. 20 amp, it reached 74. It's on the low end of temperatures for 20 amp. At 25 amp, it rose to 83 degrees Celsius at the high end of temperatures for that cell.
Oh, Celsius, damn.
Yeah, and at 30 amp, it reached 95 degrees Celsius, which is much too hot for a 30 amp cell. 5 additional cycles at 30 amp showed voltage sag, indicating damage. The temperatures at 20 and 25 amp are at the low and high limits for a cell. He's setting it at 20 amp plus, so between 20 and 25 amp for that cell, not 30. And then the last one is another eFest, the eFest 38 amp.
Yep.
eFest 38 amp.
Yeah. Look at the sag, bro.
I know, right? And somebody's saying those are all
hard,
rewraps, and very, very honestly, most vaping made cells are rewraps.
Remember when we had Craig on? He's saying a lot of them that are coming out, like the sub-ohm cell. He's saying is
it's a rewrap
of a 25R.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this guy discharges at 10 and 15 amp showed okay. At 20 amp down to 3.2 volts, the cell only had 75% or 70% of the capacity of a Samsung 25R. The temperature at 20 amp was moderate. At 25 amp and 30 amp, the voltage sagged considerably, and the temperature rose to 85 degrees and 98 degrees Celsius, respectively. Clearly a 20 amp cell. At 35 amp and 38 amp, the voltage sag is so low that the cell is essentially useless. 5 additional cycles started to show damage caused by the high temperature, saying that it's considerably lower than a 30 amp cell.
So to that point that you made, not only did Craig say they're rewraps, a lot of times they're like B stock too.
Yeah.
So it's not even like good 25 Rs. They're all the ones that they didn't want to label 25 Rs.
Yeah, B or C.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, while EFES haven't been the best, they also haven't been awful.
Well, they're
Yeah,
inconsistent.
I mean, that one didn't score too well. And I will post the links to the threads of this battery testing in the show notes.
But the thing
In the YouTube. This is just a clear, for me, this is just a clear thing, and we've said it so many times before. Please know your batteries. Know that you can trust your batteries. Just because it says 40 amp doesn't mean it's 40 amp.
just use 25 Rs. They're cheap and they
25 Rs,
They work.
HE2s, use established brand batteries.
Doo-doo Browns.
My advice.
Doo-doo Browns are the new hotness.
My advice is to use established brand batteries. If you're not going to, you're not going to, but don't push your batteries too far because it's very likely that they're not meant to go that far.
He's in the process of testing these right now. These are the Ocebo, and they boast a 30 amp continuous, 60 amp
Pulse.
pulse, and the numbers on paper look good on this, so he's testing them now. But a lot of people are saying that after I was doing some research on these, a lot of people were saying that these are also B or C bin wraps because the cells have no markings, no imprints, nothing on them. So the company that's pushing them, they say they're made in China, but there's still a lot of discussion on these that just come onto the market. And here's the thing:
Best case scenario.
They're picking up on that. The manufacturers are picking up on that. So don't be surprised if the fakes get better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because now they know that people are looking at imprints, people are taking wraps off the batteries, which is stuff that they probably didn't even think about at first. So
yeah, this guy.
Here's the thing that bothers me about that one you just showed, Massey. It said so 30 continuous, 60 pulse, right? But it says it's 2600 mAh. That doesn't sound right to me.
The best case scenario, it's a rewrap VTC5.
yeah, right, and that's what a lot of people are saying.
I'm pretty sure those are the specs on the VTC5.
Yeah, they're very close to the VTC5. And Nancy, here are the rest of the specs on that one. Let me pull that image up.
Flitz just said this guy sounds like a liar face, unless he's Elon Musk.
There's the specs. It's saying 2600 mAh. Basically, the weight is 46 grams, which is very close to the VTC5. And they do have some charts for these that they've tested. And I'll pull that one up. Someone had already done the testing on this one, and I think it's at here's the discharge one, and the amperage down there on the bottom doesn't have any. Let's see. I don't see any temperature ones on here just yet. So, but yeah, I mean they're claiming 2600 mAh. And some of the responses on this are like the high current heats the cell and chemistry works better when warm. I don't know.
These aren't silicon computer chips.
I don't know. So
and when we had Craig on from Kidney Puncher, he gave us a lot of good information. This guy that we're talking about is another guy who has been testing a lot of batteries, especially lately. He's got really good information. If you're on Reddit, he's Mooch315. If you're on ECF, he's just Mooch.
Yep.
I will try to share as much of his battery tests as I can in the show notes. I shared as much as I can in the chat right now. Check him out. Follow up. There's a lot of independent tests being done on batteries now, so it's very easy to find out the information that you're looking for. That's what I will say on that. And with that, I am done. Master, you're up.
Okay, so I had a user on Reddit message me. He actually put up a post. He or she put up a post talking about smoke TFV4 problems, and the issue was so he got one of the smoke kits like the one we talked about 2 weeks ago, and they went to put in the base that has had the, I think it was the 3. Let me see. The user's name was Edge 197811, and basically said, hey, I just got the kit, and the 3 coil is amazing, but when I tried to put my RDA in it, the threads won't match up, so I can't use the RDA. And then I went to put the 4 coil one in there, it wouldn't thread. So I messaged him and said, I had a little bit of issue with that. And I did notice that the threads were a little buggered up. The tank came with the 3. Was it the 3 or was it the? It came with the TF-T3 one installed, which is this guy right here. If you see on the inside, you can see the 3 coils. Okay. And they said the same. The 3 coil was amazing. Now this is what came threaded on there, this is my RBA deck, and the threads look okay on this one. But I will say that the one that I ended up putting in my tank was I did notice that the threads were a little buggered up when I got it. Now. I'm not 100% sure of what material these threads are made out of. The ones in the tank feel like stainless. These felt a little bit more like Chinesium, and I started basically threading in, and it kind of got stuck. And I wanted to make sure that it was lined up right, and I was able to really crank on it and push them down. And after doing that, I backed it out. There was a lot of buildup of again, Chinesium in there. I took a Q-tip, cleaned it all out, and put it back down. But after that, those threads were clean. So I don't know if it's just some of these are not being cut right or what. But if you have one of these, the reason I said I haven't been able to use it was because when I took the tank off and I went to put it back on, the threads were definitely messed up, and I didn't want to mess the tank head up, and they're saying they had to get a wrench on it and to try to, and I was like, well, mine wasn't that tough. I was able to do it with my fingers, but so just keep an eye on that. Apparently he bought it at B&M, and they're saying no returns, so I suggested contact Smoke, and we'll see.
Those aren't coils. Call them shell casings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shell casings. True. Actually, they're probably bigger than shell casing. That's bigger than a 45. I mean, it's pretty big. So,
Just right here.
keep an eye on those, and I don't know how much they're going to be able to do because, these things are made by the thousands. So, there's that.
Their machines are keep it going.
Keep up goings. So I saw a post by user Melody Mist, and basically his post saying. It read, how I clean duct coils, especially useful for nickel 200. Now, before we get into this and I show you the picture and all this, this is use at your own risk or try at your own risk. I've never tried this, don't condone it. I'll show you the picture. And I'll go on to say that I've never cleaned a coil and taken a coil out of my deck and cleaned it and put it back in. This is what this person does. That's fine. If you do that, that's great. But the way I look at it is just like with batteries. Just chuck the shit.
When it's done, it's done.
When it's done, it's done. So here's the picture. Okay, and we'll zoom in and we'll start with the coil. All right, and there's Gunky, and then there's the cleaner with the coil, and there it is fizzling, and there's the coil after. Okay, now. So
is that lie?
First thing I wanted to ask was, what are you using to clean it? So they said it's an espresso machine cleaner, great for removing burnt-on coffee, oils from metal, even better for getting gunked-up coils squeaky clean. Similar to the manufacturer instructions, I mixed 2 teaspoons amounts of the cleaner into 50 mils of very hot water, drop the coil in, and leave it for 20 minutes. No scrubbing required. Just marvel at the bubbling, foaming action. With warm water, and you're done. I previously dry-fired Canthal coils to clean, but this removes the risk of melting insulators and possible stress of the wire, blah, blah, blah. It's getting extended life from Ni200 coils, where this method really shines. So they just go on about this. Now, here's the issue that I have with this. You don't know, even if you're washing the coil after with water, even if you're doing it with nickel, you don't know what that's doing to the metal. All right? The inside of an espresso machine is a lot different than the soft metals that we're working with.
It's stainless. It's clean. Made to clean stainless.
And second of all, why?
Right.
Throw it away.
So
It's not like
Canthal's cheap, nickel's cheap. Now, that said, I can see that on some of the fancy coils that, Squiddude or Omboy see made for you, and it means something. Fine. I can kind of
your toothbrush.
But yeah, you do that. Or now that I've done it, it's not that hard to rep a Clapton. Does it take a little time? Yeah, it takes a little time. Whatever. But that's. Using abrasive
Grim Green says that they use that at Starbucks, and it's food safe cleaner. That's great. There's a lot of stuff that's food safe that shouldn't be in our Attis.
It's one thing if you're using it to clean an Atti, because it's stainless, and these things are made to clean stainless, but you're using it to clean a very soft metal. You know what I mean? There's a distinction.
There's a difference between your stomach and your lungs.
There is. But I think Messi's second point is the salient point here. Why?
Why?
Exactly.
Just grab another coin.
It's just like with the batteries. I've seen people fight me over wanting to keep reusing these batteries. Like most of the time, dude, I'm seriously like thinking about just always carrying like 2 sets of batteries with me, like a pair of Smurfs, and just be like, no, here, give me this shit in the garbage, like ethyl Here you go, new batteries. It cost me $15. I don't care, because it's and with coils, come on. I mean, I know that some of these coils can go for $10, $15, $20, but
don't let your shit get gunked up like that in the first place. Because I mentioned this like I don't know how many shows ago, but I had a build. The first build I put on my Velocity was starting to get a little gunkier. You know what I started doing to keep it clean? I put a lot of pressured water to it, like kitchen sprayer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're letting your coils get to that point, and before you even change your cotton, it's going to get caked on.
Well, and and it's interesting that they mentioned the nickel, and again, this person that posted it, they weren't saying use this to clean your coils. This is what everybody should do. They're just saying what they do. Just like here when we talk about things, doesn't mean you need to go ahead and go try them. But with Canthal, let's say you had a gunk coil, you heated it up, and if you wanted, you could take some water and you could scrub it while it was cool and then heat it up again. Nickel, that's a different story. Titanium, that's a different story, right? You can't be heating them up like that to clean them off. The easiest thing is just take that shit out and throw it away. Put a new one on. Just like with the batteries.
Yep.
Don't take the chance.
I've never finished a friggin' spool of wire.
What's the best?
So I've never finished a spool of wire. That's the thing. Just cut it off. Use more.
What's
Are you gonna run out?
And the other thing too is what's the best way about for you to get better? If you hate making coils, the easiest thing to do, or you have a hard time making coils, the best way to learn is just to keep making them, right? So throw that shit away. Make some new ones. Try a new design. I mean, Angsty, I know that we talk about hated freaking making Clapton coils.
Or find a significant other that'll do it for you.
Yeah, that worked. Not bad. So, all right. So that's that, and I'm done with news.
True.
Over it.
Well, we have some tech time.
We do, and let me get set up for that. So if you got anything else to talk about, give me a second. Oh, and I did want to mention the about 2 days ago, someone made a post that said USPS sucks, and then when you went and actually looked at the comments, it said actually no, they don't. You do guys realize that they handle millions of packages, and I'm just trying to go back to that because we did get a lot of heat for our, tracking and showing of USPS stuff. And
just buying that.
the best comment is the top comment where it says, finally someone understands, and I'm like, what? And then I look at the username and it's USPS. That's it.
Yeah. Guys, it's really hard. We've got lots of mail.
It's very simple. Very, very simple.
Don't start.
They do it. What else are we going to talk about? I can go, hey, guys.
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
You're supposed to set up, no talking for you.
Yeah, all I can really do is go, hey, guys, how are you? We write down a list of things, and that list of things, I take that back.
And the number is
Vapor Shark. Well, Vapor Shark, right? We heard some things about Vapor Shark today that I didn't talk about, and I will say that this is completely and totally a wild card. I don't know the validity of this, but I guess all the DNA 200s, there was an issue with them, and they had to send them back. So now the 4-week wait has turned into another 4-week wait or something like that, or there's another huge delay, or.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't order one on their Labor Day sale because I don't believe, especially I'll pay 2 weeks out for something that's handmade. I won't pay 2 weeks out for something that's mass production made, unless it's really difficult to get a hold of. And they're building to scale production, I don't know. But yeah, apparently the Vapor Sharks have a lot of delays.
Yeah, the upside, at least Vapor Shark's not going anywhere.
True.
Yep.
unlike the guys we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah. Well, I was just saying I won't pay for something that's production, and then I realized that I waited 60 days for my Expo stick, and I'm a hypocritical bastard.
Because you love the shit out of it, that's why.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. So here we have whoever it is, Anxie, I don't know if whoever's mute because you're echoing. We got the Renegade X, basically the kit that you can buy at Veritube to put together. And the last part that we have, which is pretty important, is we're going to be installing the magnets. Before I do that, and we're going to cover this on the next show, is I have gotten some, not complaints, but just a few people have expressed issues with the negative wire being on some of these boards. It's either a little shorter, so it might make it a little harder for you to put this contact in, and that's okay. So next show, what we're going to do is we're going to desolder this, and I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to take this off. We're going to desolder this and desolder that, and we're going to just add a little piece of wire that is going to, take some of the how taut this wire is here to give you a little bit more wiggle room when putting this on, because it is kind of tough pushing that connector on. So what we're going to talk about tonight is magnets. How do they work? And putting the magnets into the mod itself, which is the last step. This mod's ready to go. It's the last step in doing this, but it's probably the most important, and I'll go into this why. Because if you put any of these magnets in backwards, you're going to have a bad time because the lid's not going to close. Okay, or you could try to force it. Now, I have seen people who will do one magnet backwards. I don't suggest any of that. Just put the magnets in how they're supposed to be. And you're saying, Mass, how do you know which way these things go, bro? Well, real easy. We're going to mark them. Okay, so the magnets come to you in a baggie, and they come like this. Okay, these are your lid magnets, and these are the magnets that go into the box themselves. Okay, magnets are going to go in these little holes right there, and if you take one of these magnets, so you can see, they, oh yeah, go in just fine. Okay, so you're going to need some glue when you put these in, because if not, they're going to fall out. Okay, the ones on the lid, I believe, are also loose butthole like that too. That goes to Foos, and I love how all my co-hosts just disappear and leave, fuckers. But anyways, you're gonna need some glue to put these in.
I need a Diet Coke. I'm back.
I'm gonna show you how to do this so you don't fuck them up. So
do the whole fucking thing, but I'm not sure.
the reason I say be careful when doing this is because if you put one of these polarity facing one way and you have your lid facing the other way after you glued it in, and you're trying to go like this, and not gonna work. Okay, so enough playing with magnets. So all I did was I took this guy, okay, separated these, set them aside, out of the way, okay, and whichever direction you start with, okay, what's going to help you when you put these in, and there's different ways of doing this, but if you keep the magnets together, once you put them in, you're going to keep the same polarity, okay, so it's not like you're going to be able to have one backwards when you put them in. Okay, so keep them together when you're doing this, and just have your area prep ready to go. I'm using a glue that is meant for not damaging rubber, and this is just what I have to show you with right now. Gorilla Glue or something like that. That is that's not. This is a gel. Okay, so you want to use a gel. This is a MaxiCure for plastics and hardwoods and some metals, and it's extra thick, and it cures in like 15 to 20 seconds. So the Gorilla Glue that's out, that's also a gel. The gel will help in putting this in and keeping those magnets in there. Before we start, make sure you got a clean area. Make sure you also have a paper towel or a piece of a paper towel or a few pieces, so that way if you get too much glue, you can just easily wipe it off the aluminum, no problem. Now I know this is kind of bright, so we'll try to get it as close as possible. So
is the Plumes Vape mat required, Pete? That's a required mat, right?
Yeah, it is. You always want to have your Plumes Vape mat, and you want to set the box like right between Anksy's and Foo's crotch. That usually helps pretty well. Just put it right in there, and that'll nuzzle it in there. It won't move.
Yeah, my thighs are pretty thick, so.
So you're gonna want to be like, all right, let's put these magnets in. Glue, 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 glue. Magnet, magnet, magnet. Take it one at a time. Okay. You want to make sure that that magnet is good and set before you move to the other one, and you also don't want a 10, 15-second glue setting up.
Hey, Massey,
and
you're pretty out of focus. You come forward and back, or just adjust your.
I don't know how. How about that?
It's closer.
I should be in focus. It looks in focus on my end.
I think he's just got some fuzziness going on. It's not HD.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it seems to be out of focus, but maybe it's a bandwidth funky thing. Thank you, base Google.
Yeah, it is. It's like at I can try to reload and see if it'll help, because you're not gonna be able to see very much if it's here. Give me a second. Reload.
DIY or die asked, is Mass using a Motorola Razr to film?
I actually, I periodically miss my Razr. I love that phone. That was a great phone.
I still have mine laying around somewhere. It's in.
Do you really? I'm jealous. I don't have mine. I don't know.
It's a black one too.
Ooh, okay. So I was one of the suckers that paid I think $350 for it. It was like the first expensive phone I ever bought. And then a month later, dropped to $100.
Yeah. I stopped using it because the stupid dust under the screen problem. I fixed it. I had someone fix it for me, and then it makes it more susceptible to dust. So I was like, fuck that.
All right, let's see how that looks.
Back in.
Oh, that's way better.
Way better? Okay. All right. So let's click over here and see. All right. So you're going to want to go one at a time, okay, and keep the magnets together like this. I'm telling you, try to separate these and put them somewhere. You'll have something sitting there, and then wham, then they're gone. So just keep them together. It'll be easier. So let's do one of these at a time, and that way you can see how when you put you need just a tiny little bit of glue. Okay, so let's see if we can get this to show on the screen. And I'm using a gel. All right, so let's see. Here comes the gel.
You just got someone on shoes, food shoes. Get him sit
Okay.
backwards.
Right there. Just a little bit. Trying to get it to focus, okay? Just on the edge. Let some of it drip in, and I'm going to take one of the magnets, okay, and keep the polarity. I'm just going to push it down. And then with my little tweezers, okay, push down on it. And you want to see some of that glue come over the top.
Do not use your fingers for this step.
Do not use your fingers for the step. All right, and now that you have...
Send us a message or video of you using your fingers for this step so we can air it.
Okay, so now you have the glue over the top, okay? That means that there's glue all around the magnet itself, and glue has come up and over the top. Now all you do is take a paper towel and wipe it. If you do it faster, you won't get, any marks on it, but there you go. Okay, and notice the magnet's just a little bit recessed. That's fine. All right, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to take another magnet now and try to test it, because you're going to pull it out. So just leave it, okay? And you always, if you need to, you can take this guy and basically you could, put a line on it on the bottom parts, all right? And that's basically showing you which way is going down. If you want, that'll help you. On the bottom of the magnet, that means that these magnets go in this way, okay? For this part, it's not that big of a deal because you could put these in backwards and still make it up on the lid. You just have to be careful. You have to taste it, test it to make sure. All right, here we go with the second one. Get this gel to come up. And I'm using the gel, and this tip is usually sharper, but I've used it for putting some other stuff. So there's a drop. All right, so you can see it there, just a little bit, and we're going with the magnet. You could also use the other magnets and do one of these. Okay. Okay, you see the excess. 1 second, wait for it to focus. Excess on the top. Go through, grab a new piece of paper, okay, a new little piece of paper, and go towards the inside when you're wiping it off. Okay, there it is. All right, next one. Be careful where you put your pieces of paper too, because they'll get stuck.
So, are you gonna flood the box with that hot glue?
Nope. There's the next one. Magnet facing down with the black going down.
The last step is obviously to fill the box with hot glue, not rubber.
Apparently, you're with the potato again.
Did I? Oh yeah, I'm really potato. Holy crap.
You're like golden Yukon potato.
What the hell's going on?
Not golden Yukon, Yukon gold.
Let me unclick myself and see what it does. Give me 1 second. It might just be Google being Google. So let me see here. See if I can refresh this. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. So on the on this last one, again, you have. Let's wipe this guy that we just put in. All right. And there we go. Connection's a little bit better now. Let's check.
Yeah, it just cleaned up quite a bit.
Yep. Get the glue on there. And the gel helps a lot. I mean, you can do this with normal, but I don't suggest it. So just start it and push it back down. All right. Wipe this guy off. This stuff sets pretty quick. Okay, so 10 to 15 seconds. All right, now that we have all those in, we're ready to do the lid. Okay, set this aside, let it dry. What I like to do is, since these have been already set for quite some time, let's go ahead and my connection should be pretty good now. So let's go ahead and look at, they're dry. And you can take these and check to see orientation. Okay, I feel attraction there, 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 and there. Okay, so the magnets are being attracted. So what I'm going to do is, this is the polarization. This is what's going to get attracted to this. This needs to be facing up on the lid. So I'll hold the magnets up like this. All right, and I'm going to put a dot here and put a dot here at the bottom. And a dot here at the bottom, and a dot here at the bottom, and a dot there at the bottom. Now I know that black is going to have to be facing up. If you don't want, the magnet to have a mark on it because it's going to look, that's fine. You can just clean that up later. Okay, some alcohol, or you don't have to, you can just mark them on the side. Okay, that's the important part, that all these four are okay. And when you put these guys on the lids, that all these are facing up. All right, so let's go do the lid. And remember, this lid is keyed, so it does have a part that's milled out that matches here. So when you put this on, if you do have some of these that are backwards, you need to be cognizant of that and make sure that you're putting the magnets in right. So let's put these guys on. Wait a second. Let me grab okay. All right, so let's do. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so let's take the ones that we've marked already and they're up. And when you go place the glue in here, you want to try to place it as far in the center as possible. So you want to try to get most of the glue here in the center, so that way the stuff that comes around isn't much. So when you go in, that glue going. Is the image okay now?
Yeah, you look all right.
Okay. So, okay, there's the center. And remembering that black's going to be coming towards the top. Place it in and push it down. And you want some of that glue to come around the side. Okay? So, now when you go ahead and you wipe this, okay, you have, glue all around it. All right, and usually what I do is I just, you could use a Q-tip, you could use whatever else to clean it off. Just make sure you push them down so the magnet doesn't stick up past the lid. All right. And next one. Again, magnet going off. You could also, some people will push them in and pull them out of the way. I like doing it this way, one by one, because I can just, I don't have to worry about it flipping back up with the other magnets if you try to do it the other way. All right, pushed it down, and you can see how some of that squeezed around the sides. And Clean that guy off. And you want to basically wipe it flat so that way you don't have any buildup there that you're going to have to get in and clean off later. All right. I always like to basically, now that I have the two bottom ones, make sure that, you know, these are not repelling, and you'll know right away if you get them close. Okay, you want to leave this lid off overnight to let everything dry. So don't go try putting the lid on right away, because a lot of this glue that tells you it sets anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, or half an hour or whatever, that's bond time, and then you need to the total cure time, which is overnight. There's that one. And again, we got the black dot facing up. All right. Push it down. Paper towel. Pull that guy off. And if you do get a little bit of buildup on the inside, you just take the tweezers. I'm just using these guys and paper towel, and you can just basically run it along the edge and clean that off. Okay, nice and clean. And the last one. This gel stuff is good, but it takes a little bit to, there we go. All right, we got some in there. All right, here's the last one with the dot facing up. And here you can see it's sticking out, so we'll push it. Yeah, get it all squeezed out of there. And use this guy to clean it off. That one I put a little bit too much glue in there. It makes a little bit more of a mess, but it's okay, you can still clean it up. And you want to make sure you get on the other side of that magnet, so that way since these are machined really close, there's no interference. So again, I just take the tip of that and put the paper towel on it and clean it off like that. And if there's any residue or something like that later on, you can just take light sanding paper and do that. Okay. So that's it for putting these in. So we'll just do a quick top check to make sure that there's no issues. And that's pretty good. These are set. Now just leave it overnight. Let it, fully cure. Let me just get this in the video, and you're done. Like that, done. Now, let's say something happens where you put the wrong magnets in the lid. That's going to be a tough one, because trying to drill these magnets out is going to be bad. So, you're not going to be able to drill them out. So this is an important step. So mark them, do whatever you need to do to remind yourself to put them in the right way. And that's it.
Awesome. Completed build.
Completed build.
Lesson concluded.
Hell yes. Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. It is
I was just like, where do I remember that from?
2 hours, 10 minutes. It's about that time, I think.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's nice to have that build done, and it's nice to have that all fully set.
I did put the ridiculous Atti on the micro. It looks even more ridiculous than it does with that little mech.
It's the hammer of angst.
I feel like it's been a long time since a hostful, even though it's probably only been 4 episodes since the last one. It feels longer, and I think we just kind of had a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah, you do this more often.
Yeah. As always, thank you guys. I miss you already because I just saw you the other day, and that was nice.
Yeah, this is the third time the Plumes Voltron is assembled.
We'll see you in Tulsa again.
Yeah. We'll see you in Tulsa.
Couple months.
And to everybody who tuned in, like always, thank you guys very much. I can speak for all of us and say that we really do appreciate the support, and that people enjoy listening to us banter.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good night.
Later, everybody.
Peace.
I'm waiting for Massey.
Oh.
I don't think he's got anything to queue up tonight. That
With the
feels
meter.
weird. I guess
I don't.
I'll just stop the.
I was